I know as a food maker, an entrepreneur, or a creative, you want to shoot your food and product photos in-house, but there's always one barrier: time, right? Well, the one way to get around that is to fully define your photography style. Now, when I first started out, I always felt like people were telling me that I needed to have a photo style, and I found it really almost paralyzing to my work. I came to a complete halt. I felt like I would never be able to style or photograph foods and products because I didn't want to stick to one style. I wanted to let the product guide me, to let my mood guide me a little bit. I wanted to be creative, and I found having a specific style to prevent that. But what I found over time is that I do have a style. It's just a very flexible style, and there are components that I work into all of my images. But what people also tell me is that they have no idea what it is they really like about an image, so that they can then take those components and bring them to their own work. So let's start there. Let's look at the first step to defining your photography style, and let's break it down. So these are two very different images. These are my images. So what I want you to think about or try to find are images that really strike your interest, that you absolutely love when you see them, because we're going to figure out what it is you really love about them so that you can then bring them to your own photos. And when I say that, I don't mean copy them. Don't like copycat photos. Your photos should be uniquely you. But you do that by defining what it is you like about other photos and then combining those components to create your own. Now, these are my photos. So if you don't like these photos, then maybe reverse this, flip it a little bit, and identify the things you aren't liking about it, because that'll help you define things that you like. But let's look at these two as examples to start out. Step one is to look at the surface of the photo. The surface truly defines a photo style to me. You can have something that's very rustic, something that's modern. So if we look at the wood and the photo with the bread, you see that it's more of a rustic photo. It has a bit of a vintage look, while the photo with the beer has more of a modern look, a very clean surface. So think about the surface. That's the first step. That's the first step to defining truly what you like. Next, identify the light. The photo with the bread, there's side light. So you can see the shadows being blocked, or there is shadow and the light's being blocked in the bottom of the photo and the left of the photo. The light is coming from the right. In the beer picture, this is more of backlight. So the light is illuminating the glasses from the back. So when you identify that, you likely have all different kinds of light angles in your photos, but what do you really like? What's the prettiest to you? What really sparks your interest? Third, you look at the details of the image. So these are things like the prop. For instance, the spoon in the bread picture has a very rustic look. The garlic there's garlic skins torn. Do you like this kind of messy look? Would you rather have something that's completely clean, like the beer photo, without a drop or a spill anywhere? These little details, the props, the garnishes, the way things are styled, the way your eyes move through the photo, these are all details of the photo that help you identify the style that you want to bring to your own photos. Now, in this regard, these two photos are kind of similar, but think about the white space here. So the top left corner of the bread photo has a lot of space. Does that bother you? Are you imagining some text that you could put there? Same thing with the beer photo. It has a little bit of white space to the right. Everything's a bit off center. Would you prefer that this be filled? Think about those things and the details that you like and don't like about a picture. The final step is to define. And by define, think about what it would take for you to create this image yourself. Not a copycat image, but to bring these components to another subject of your own. Think about the set. Because a lot of times when you look at food photos, they give the impression that there's a large, big set that they're on, when in reality it's just a very small space. And different elements, such as the bread photo, looks like it's on a table. That's not a table. That is a grape drying tray. And those are vintage trays that were used to dry grapes into raisins in California. So if you're lucky to have some of those around, they work great and they look like tables. The beer surface is actually a tabletop slab from the discount section of IKEA. So think about those things and what you might have on hand that would define the photo. You don't have to be overwhelmed thinking you have to create this huge scene. You may have components that you can bring together to create a similar image. So that's how you break down a photo. And as you are determining your photography style, I would encourage you to look at each and every food picture or product picture that you see, whether it's on social media or in a magazine or in a cookbook or catalog. Look at it and begin to break down the photos in this way, and you'll start to identify those components that you can bring back to your photography. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Lori Rice, food photographer and stylist with 10 years of experience as a one-person show shooting for brands, ag organizations, book publishers, and magazines in my home studio, and I am here to help food makers, entrepreneurs, and creatives do the same.